Buffalo Bills defensive line coach Eric Washington openly admitting that Greg Rousseau is working against the left tackle, which means that Greg Rousseau is going to be in Von Miller's spot, rotating in there, and it's very interesting. Even hearing Dion Dawkins' interview talking about going against Greg Rousseau and what does this mean for the 2023 Buffalo Bills. Welcome to my channel, Bills News Consolidated. We got to talk about it. Sean McDermott as defensive coordinator, mixing things up, and also getting our guy Greg Rousseau on the left tackle here. And I think you look at Von Miller, obviously recovering from that ACL, coming back, working on the sidelines. I hope you guys saw the clip I posted yesterday. He's working hard, and he made a coach stumble. You know, he made him almost fall right on his back, Von Miller. So he's definitely has that burst off the ball. But what are we going to see to open the season? Will Von Miller be there week 1, Monday night against Aaron Rodgers and the Jets? And I think the Bills are really preparing for Von not to be there. And one thing we have to consider here is Greg Rousseau working on that same side as Von Miller. Something I said in my previous video too, where we have Kaiir Elam working in a rotation with Trey White. It's about living up to that expectation, visually seeing what a Trey White is doing out there for 2 or 3 series and then stepping in for a series and living up to that expectation. I think Greg Rousseau could do the same with Von Miller. Yes, completely different skill sets and body types, but seeing Von Miller play that position all last year and maybe Greg Rousseau filling in that spot, Von Miller helping Greg Rousseau for the first couple weeks of the season. We'll see when Von Miller actually comes back, but this is huge, and I think it's absolutely going to help Greg Rousseau progress into the defensive end that we all want him to ultimately be. You know, Sean McDermott said it in his interview too, like anyone that says the following season coming off an ACL isn't tough is lying to you. So this is definitely going to be a tough season for Von Miller. Although everyone's saying that he's an alien, his recovery here has been absolutely crazy. But I really think Von Miller still has to kind of save himself for the playoffs, for the Super Bowl. You know, we don't want to really utilize him all too crazy throughout the season, even when he does come back. So will we see a rotation during the season between Greg Rousseau, Von Miller on that side, Leonard Floyd getting mixed in there, Shane Ray, Boogie Basham, AJ Epinesa, Shaq Lawson, who are all said to be doing pretty well here. Boogie Basham working in on the interior defensive tackle. You know, Tim Settle was getting some hype saying he's coming to the season in great shape, ready to go, but I guess he hurt himself. He wasn't at practice. So, you know, does Boogie Basham start rotating in that speed defensive tackle role like an Ed Oliver type? You know, we gotta see and how that is all going to shake out. But I really think Greg Rousseau rotating in on the left side, hearing Eric Washington specifically say he's gotten better at that this offseason. That's something that they really worked at this year. And I really believe, you know, listening to Eric Moll's interview, talking about Khalil Shakir, working with Khalil Shakir. He says Khalil Shakir is just big enough to work as a perimeter wide receiver. You know, and I love that Khalil came out and corrected his name too and said that his name is Khalil, right? I like that. I like that this year. You know, I think he is just that clutch X factor for this offense. You know, you need a wide receiver to come off the bench, and you need him to come out, ball out, make a play in a clutch moment of the game. You know, Khalil Shakir could do that. And in the slot, in the perimeter, he can kick return, he can punt return. Yeah, that's absolutely huge for Bills Mafia. Rotating in, it's like seeing how extremely great talents do it and then coming in and trying to do it yourself. I think it really sets the bar, right? There's an expectation, there's a level that you need to play to. So seeing Kaiir Elam rotate in with Trey White, seeing Khalil Shakir rotate in with Diggs and Davis and Deontay Hardy, right? It's just going to be absolutely huge. And I really believe having Greg Rousseau rotating in with Von Miller, opposite defensive end side, is going to be huge too as well. And we've seen Greg Rousseau even line up in the D tackle spot. And I hope you guys watched my game film study review of Greg Rousseau last year. And I called him a stunt monster because that's exactly what he is. He even stunts on the outside. He'll line up as defensive end, and as the play develops, they have him rolling in and stunning on that guard or center. You know, he's so tall that you get him right in the quarterback's face with his arms up in the air. He could easily bat a ball or just blur the vision of the quarterback. It's very hard to see over a Greg Rousseau, especially when he jumps and puts his arms up. It's going to be crazy to see this year. But the hype is absolutely real. You know, I really think we need to see more from not only Greg Rousseau, but A.J. Epinesa, Boogie Basham. You know, that is why we brought in Leonard Floyd and Shane Ray. And, you know, Shaq Lawson, too. I guess Shaq Lawson's doing a great job being that edge setter against the run. It's about mixing and matching on a weekly basis. You know, and Steve Tasker, Chris Brown said, what's going to be the biggest difference for the Buffalo Bills wide receiver core here in 2023? And first, I think it starts with Dalton Kincaid, you know, primarily a receiving tight end. Could definitely receive and run routes a little bit better than Dawson Knox, better hands than Dawson Knox, more experience coming out of college than Dawson Knox. And I think that alone is going to take attention away from Diggs, from Davis, from Deontay Hardy and whoever's in the slot, right? You know, Davis and Diggs aren't going to have to do as much clearing out because now we have another guy that's going to clear things out in Dalton Kincaid. But the secret sauce, the secret recipe for the Buffalo Bills here that we mixed up was moving on from Chad Hall, wide receiver coach, who was a great wide receiver coach, but we move on to Adam Henry, who's worked with Odell Beckham. He's worked with Jarvis Landry and some top-notch wide receivers across this league. When you listen to interviews of Adam Henry and what he likes focusing on, it's the extreme details of the game. Knowing matchups, you know, knowing your players and then knowing the team that you're going against and how to exploit those matchups. Not only from a body and skill set aspect, but also understanding certain downs and distances, you know? So if you're trying to do certain things against certain players, but you have to understand the strengths, the weaknesses, situational football, and how to exploit things like a freaking chess piece. And I really think Adam Henry is that secret sauce for the Buffalo Bills wide receiver core in 2023. But again, Greg Rousseau mixing up different positions here. Everyone putting more on their plate for 2023. We as Bills fans need to do the same. Hope you guys appreciate this video. Hit like, subscribe. Go Bills.